Yo, what's going on, y'all? It's Combo Breaker 99. I'm back with another quick post-fight analysis video. All right, y'all. Where do I start with this one? Cynthia Calvillo versus Andrea Lee. Wow. I did not see it going in this fashion. No moss for Cynthia Calvillo. Submission or stoppage win is always possible, so always keep that open, but not in this fashion. Like I said, I didn't see Cynthia Calvillo having to retire on her stool the way she did in this fight. I talked about it in my post-fight reaction, but I wanted to just go back and analyze the fight like I usually do in these videos. I know I like to go back through them round by round. Andrea Lee and Cynthia Calvillo, like I said, there's the only thing that's keeping them separate is the difference in ranking, 12 and 5. But as far as like the experience level and, the level up from these fighters, Cynthia Calvillo is she's not much of a better fighter than Andrea Lee. Let's put it that way. Like, Andrea Lee is close to a complete fighter. I've always think that the thing that she just lacked was her execution and her IQ. Like, she had she has physical strength, good clinch fighting, good boxing, kickboxing, and, good judo and jiu-jitsu, a little bit of everything that could get her far. She just doesn't perform to the highest level when she needs to, and it doesn't show. It shows in these performances with like Roxanne Modafferi, Lauren Murphy, and JoJo. That's why she went on a 3-fight losing streak, because she's never really executed and used her strength over theirs, taking her strength to the highest level and expose their weaknesses. Let's put it that way. Cynthia Calvillo, same thing with her. I think Cynthia Calvillo, good fighter. I'm a fan of her. I just think that Cynthia Calvillo never really fights off of her strengths. She tends to use her striking, which is not her best suit. She doesn't really take advantage of her grappling the way she should. Like, she's never taken full advantage of the opportunity to be a pressure fighter. With her body type, I think she needs to start really working towards being more of a dirty boxer on the inside and, being a trip and takedown fighter and a pressure fighter instead of being this outside rangy fighter, especially when you go in there with a fighter with a 5.5-inch reach advantage. That wasn't going to work. So going into this fight, I went with Cynthia Calvillo because I thought she was going to be the grappler here. And I thought she was at number 5 for a purpose, where she was going to say, okay, I'm going to take this fight to the ground, make it scrappy like I did against Jessica Eye, and I'm going to take Andrea Lee out of her element. I'm going to take the fight out of Andrea Lee. And I thought that Andrea Lee wasn't going to execute like I'm used to seeing her do. I thought she was going to just go through the motions and not level up. But this fight here, Andrea Lee didn't really have to level up too much here, because Cynthia Calvillo never showed anything of danger to Andrea Lee, right? I mean, when it came down to it, she wanted to strike, and it cost her the fight. Cynthia Calvillo wanted to strike with the long, tall, quick fighter, and it cost her the fight. I mean, going back and looking at the first round, right away, Andrea Lee pumping jabs out from the jump, using that reach advantage. I was like, okay, she's using the jab. Pumping that jab out, stepping side to side. Calvillo tried to rush in behind a flurry, but Lee, she stuck that jab out, came up with the uppercut, a right uppercut, and a few combinations, and just continue to do this. This was her takedown defense, landing uppercuts and like flurries like this. Calvillo, she wanted to get that level change, but Lee, she was staying on the back foot nicely, just staying away from the inside. Calvillo walking right into the fire, eating jabs. Calvillo, to me, she needed to use that timing, because the jab was consistent from Andrea Lee. Like, there were times where she was just pumping it out, where I think Calvillo, when she started timing it, she could have landed her right hand over the top, or she could have slipped under the jab, like, Carla Esparza will do, and, level change and take the fight to the ground. She could have surprised her that way. But Calvillo, she was too busy trying to strike from the outside. Now, she did get off a few good right hands when she did try to use that timing, but it wasn't enough, because the work rate of Andrea Lee was just coming, piston jabs. Both fighters, like in a few minutes in, though, busted each other's noses up from these straight shots. Difference is Calvillo, she's taking too many shots. And, I think that there was just some really good flurries from Calvillo and her power that opened up that nose. So both noses were open here. Both noses were open. Because like I said in my keys to victory for my breakdown video, I said that, Andrea Lee doesn't take her head off the line. So you have to take advantage of that. Land good sharp shots on Andrea Lee, and you can open her up, which Calvillo did. But too much striking from the outside. Calvillo, when she did try for these takedowns, they were telegraphed. Lee, she was just too much stronger. She shoulder defense on how to peel off Calvillo, even off the fence. Just good takedown defense in the first round. Good exchanges. Lee, she was just pumping out a lot of jabs and a lot of work in this round and doing a lot of damage. I had to give her the first round. I'm very close, though. The second round, though, Lee, leg kicks. Leg kicks started to hurt Calvillo right from the jump. She hit her with a hard leg kick, got a reaction. Calvillo followed up with a front kick to Lee followed up with a front kick to the gut that hurt Calvillo. And that's why I said, like, that the stomach, the body is suspect on Calvillo. Like, when you land some kicks to that body, you'll get a reaction. Marina Rodriguez, that's where I first seen it. I said, oh, man, like, the way she's getting hit, it's not like a surprise shot to the gut. It's like when she gets rattled to the body, she has to go on the back foot. So when Lee throws that front kick to the gut, you can see Calvillo's hurt. Then several more body shots just stopped Calvillo on her track. And at least she went after it. She started focusing on the body, went upstairs, hard left hooks, to the head, into the body, just backing Calvillo up with these punches and low kicks and body shots. So from here, Lee was just getting into a groove. It was like touch her everywhere, just hitting her everywhere. Calvillo on the outside at this range, it was just target practice for Lee. Calvillo, she can't get on the inside because she was trying to box with this kickboxer instead of trying to make this like a rough inside fight. There was just too much work from the outside and, just getting pieced up. There was a point, like, I think it was like at the 2 minute and 30 seconds mark, there was an exchange, and Lee, she landed a hard left, I want to say, and it looked like it broke her hand. Like, they showed it back in the replay. You could see her kind of wince, like, whenever there's a shot that landed. I couldn't tell if it landed on top of the head or what, but I think Andrea Lee had broke her hand. But it didn't slow her down. She was still coming with the combinations, ripping Calvillo to the body, to the head, marking her up. Calvillo's face was just painted by the end of the round. She just looked defeated, man. Like, Andrea Lee was just like, just had an answer for everything, for her. And Calvillo just didn't have the fight in her, I think, in my opinion. In this fight Saturday night, she just didn't have the fight in her for her to even lose a decision. So she just stayed on her stool, had enough, didn't come out for the third round. I've seen this before in boxing, when the beating is that consistent, that vicious, and the damage just keeps showing over and over, and you have no answer, fighters just retire on their stool. I mean, this was in no way like this type of performance, but Mayweather Gotti, when Floyd Mayweather just continued to pummel him round after round with combinations, and Gotti had no answer. Gotti couldn't punch with him. Gotti couldn't box with Floyd Mayweather. Arturo Gotti Buddy McGirt just had to, say, you're not coming back out for the seventh round, right? So this was a similar situation. Calvillo had no answer for whatever was coming, body, head, especially when she was getting tagged to the face, and then she got hit to the body where her weakness is. It was like, oh, man, this is, she was like, I'm done. I'm just done. I mean, the side of her cheek looked like maybe her cheekbone was broken. I mean, I saw some pictures on IG where she was swole up. So I don't know. Shout out to Calvillo, though. She's a fighter, man. Like, a fighter, but she's got to become a smarter fighter. Her last couple of performances, they were busts against the gatekeepers. I don't even think she should have been in there with that level off of a fight with Jessica Ai. Kagan was too much. Andrade, they're just too active, and they're just too set in their ways where they're just, they are better fighters. Kagan is a chaotic volume puncher, and she will stick to that. Andrade is just a brute force that comes forward, and she'll stick to that. Calvillo, I think she's just not sure what she is when she gets in there. Is she a striker? Is she a grappler? And again, that's no disrespect. That's just off of what I've seen, off of these performances at flyweight. It's not working. And with that being said, what do y'all think? Is it the fact that she's fighting at a weight she shouldn't be at? I think so. I think so, because, like, I ain't gonna lie, like, Cynthia Calvillo, whenever she hit the scene at 115, I like what I seen. Eventually, I thought she was gonna fight Andrade at 115 and Tatiana Suarez at 115. But all of a sudden, like, when she started missing weight and that started becoming an issue, I was like, why is she missing weight? She's not that big of a fighter. I was like, she's not that big of a fighter. And then when she made the move to 125, I was like, oh, okay. I was like, this was sudden. I was like, when did this happen, right? And when that happened, I was like, I don't know if she'll be able to compete. When she beat Jessica Ai, I was like, okay, maybe her grappling and maybe her groundwork is going to help her. But when she fought Caitlin and, then went into the Andrade fight, I was like, well, okay, maybe this weight ain't for her. This is a thick, grappler-heavy division, physically strong women that hit hard, and Calvillo doesn't have the defense or, you know, the IQ to make adjustments in these fights. I think she could go back down to 115 and compete with this striking, even with her grappling, but I don't think she's strong enough for the Andrades and Jennifer Mayas, right? You know, so that's something she probably gonna have to think about, you know, trying to get on a strict diet, get back down on 115 for real. As for Andrea Lee, like I said, you prove me wrong, that means you're doing something right. You know, you prove me wrong, that means you're doing something right, and I think that her performance was solid. Can she go in there and, you know, defeat some of these top fighters? I don't know. You know, Jennifer Maia, Caitlin Chikagan, Andrade, but that's what's next. I want to see her in there next. I want to see some new blood in there, and, you know, she made two big statements. Antonina Shevchenko stoppage in the second round, a second round stoppage over Calvillo. So what else is next now, right? And like I said, Andrea Lee has a lot of good tools. If she can continue to execute them and put them together like this, then boom, you know, why not? I'm gonna do another video about this, but people are already saying Andrea Lee's gonna go in there and fight for the title. I don't think so. I don't think so. I mean, and it's not me saying that, it's her saying that. She said it in her post-press fight conference where she just stated that I'm not sure Valentina is, you know, near perfect. What does that tell you? You know, so no need to rush Andrea Lee. In my opinion, I think Andrea Lee should fight the winner of Grasso versus Araujo, and then maybe a Lauren Murphy rematch and Jennifer Maia, or a winner of Chikagan and Maia. I think that's how it should go. Maybe 2 more fights before she gets to Valentina. Because if somebody tells me that Valentina is perfect and they kind of stutter step or they beatbox, then they're not ready for the championship. They're not ready for the championship. So throw 2 more fights in there for Andrea Lee. You know, 1 more fight, a title eliminator, and then she get the title fight. I think that's best for her, because she didn't sound like somebody that wants to go for it now. So fans of Andrea Lee, you heard it from her, so don't try to rush your fighter in there. Like I said, I ain't about false confidence or false hope. Like, I ain't gonna give that person false confidence. Like, I like what I seen from Andrea Lee in these 2 fights, her last 2 performances, but if her words aren't catching up with her actions, like she's ready for the bullet, then I don't want to see her in there with the bullet. If she doesn't want to take that chance and say, I'm ready for it like that, then I don't want to see it, because we already know what we're going to get. See, you know what I mean? Like, we need somebody saying, I want Valentina next. I want that smoke. But if they're not saying that, then why do you want to see them fight and then get dominated, right? Then y'all going to blame Valentina for fighting somebody that, you know, wasn't on that level. You're going to say, oh, she fought another bum. So come on now, y'all got to make sense of this. Like, Andrea Lee said it right there. She pretty much said everything short of I'm not ready for the title shot. So let's see her in 2 more fights. That's what I want to see. But yeah, shout out to Calvillo. You know, good fighter. You know, like I said, always been a fan. I just think that 115 would be better for her right now. The way I'm just looking at how these girls at flyweight are putting it together. They're coming in strong as hell, and they're getting stronger. So 115 in mind for Calvillo. You know, rest up, take a year off, maybe 8 months or 9, you know, at best, and go from there. So yeah, guys, let me know in the comment section what y'all thought of the fight. Andrea Lee ready for a title shot? I don't think so. She doesn't sound like it. Calvillo back down to 115. What do y'all think? Combo Breaker 99. I'm out. Subscribe. Peace.